Hey everyone, what's going on? I just want to take a few minutes to discuss the Hudson Valley UFO. So this is a big thing for me, considering that I'm from the Hudson Valley. I live in New York. I live in Westchester personally, but the Hudson Valley is an area that ranges from upstate New York and parts of Connecticut down south. Maybe about an hour or so in New York and Connecticut. It's a pretty large region. If I had to guess, I'd probably say 50 miles by maybe another 50 miles. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. That's just to give you guys an idea of the geographic area that is covered during what was called the Hudson Valley UFO wave. So there were sightings of UFOs actually for a span of almost 10 years. Along those 10 years there were spikes and there were Phoenix Lights type events that occurred during this period multiple times. I'm talking about where hundreds of cars were pulled over on Taconic State Parkway, which is a major parkway in New York, ranging from upstate New York to New York City, and some different routes in Connecticut. And you're talking on that one night, thousands of calls and reports being made of sightings of a gigantic craft the size of a football field hovering silently over ranging from hundreds of feet over to a few thousand feet in the air, of a gigantic, completely silent craft hovering over all these witnesses in, like I said, New York and Connecticut. And there's some pictures and video. The video is not that good because you're talking again this is the early to mid, mostly when it peaked, to even the late 1980s. So it wasn't, and you remember Phoenix Lights happened in 1997, the big one, and that's a large gap technologically speaking. So more people had camcorders in 1997 than 1982. But like I said, this ranged from 1982 to about 1988, 89. And a lot happened in upstate New York where I live. I've encountered plenty of people who actually witnessed the major events that I'm talking about, where hundreds of people were pulled over on Taconic State Parkway. The police were there. They took pictures. State officials testified to seeing it. And, so a lot of people question, well, was it unknown, ET, military? It could have been the testing. The reason I think that a large amount of it was at least what people call extraterrestrial, or not of human intelligence, let's just put it like that, was because of all the high strangeness that was involved. Meaning people would see a craft, over this period of time, and it would be moving away, and they would say, oh my God, that's amazing, what is it? I wish it would stop or come back. And the huge silent craft would make a complete stop and come back towards a person or group of people. So there was an interaction with thought, which is referred to as high strangeness, dubbed by Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Dr. J. Allen Hynek, which if many of you are not familiar with him, he was the astronomer hired by the U.S. Air Force to study UFOs and debunk them, actually. And he began debunking them. He's the one who came up with the term swamp gas, but then he actually turned around and said, no, this is not just some kind of natural weather phenomenon. There's something to all this stuff. And he went on to write this book and another book called The UFO Experience, describing how these were probably interplanetary craft. Remember, this is a guy that was hired by the U.S. Air Force. So he he began by kind of debunking and saying, oh, it's swamp gas, and these typical kind of explanations. And he turned over to the really good cases because he did the actual study, and that's what turned him to believe that these sightings were actually probably of extraterrestrial origin, or what we can best describe as extraterrestrial in our understandings. So again, these sightings occurred from the early to late 1980s. You're talking about thousands of witnesses over this period, and even thousands of witnesses per mass sighting. And over the course of those years, there were a few of these mass sightings. So that's a pretty good summary of the Hudson Valley UFO. I'm actually going to an event with my friend called Revisiting the Hudson Valley UFO, and it's going to be a 3-hour presentation on this topic. There's, like I said, a book written by Dr. J. Allen Hynek and is co-authored by Philip Imbrogno, and it's a fascinating book of the Hudson Valley UFO wave, where they interview witnesses and go over some of the evidence. And it's essentially describing CE5 in many of the encounters, because these were encounters, not just sightings. There were interactions, or alleged or perceived interactions, between the witnesses and the crafts, whatever they were, extraterrestrial craft or unknown craft, whatever you want to call them, or whatever you perceive them as. But which goes into a video that I'll be making shortly called UFOs and the Observer Effect, because there's this effect that goes on with these, that go along with these sightings, that can't be denied, going back decades, describing the interaction between thought, intention, consciousness, perception, and these sightings. These are not just random sightings. So keep that in mind. Hope you enjoyed this. If you want me to make a longer, more in-depth video with some more facts about the Hudson Valley UFO, let me know. Thank you.